Hello and welcome to the Brand Media webinar hosted by Design Studio Perth with our guest, Z Wang from Iceberg Media. I'm Tracy Fryer. I'm the founder of Design Studio Perth, and today I have Z with me. Z, you go for it.
Hi, Tracy. Thank you for inviting me to your platform. Really excited to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, so I'm Z from Iceberg Media. So we are a content creation marketing kind of agency which helps businesses grow with professional quality content. So we assist businesses with small, large form of filming, photography work. So it depends on what sort of organizations they have. I'm sure we are able to help them out from there.
Yeah, awesome. So Z and I occasionally, actually all the time, Z, you are chosen brand photographer and videographer. We team up and we help business owners take their brand from standard to strategic. So believe it, I'm actually taller than that. And Z, are those your real tats?
No, they're not.
No, but I can hands down say that Z is very, very talented, him and his team at what they do. And that is why Design Studio Perth chooses to collaborate with Z. Just their quality is premium and he's an absolute expert at what he does. So you guys are in for a treat this evening. Design Studio Perth. So we are a branding and graphic design agency that's dedicated to helping our clients take their brand from standard to strategic. We know that branding can be extremely overwhelming, and that is why we team up with the likes of Iceberg Media to break branding down into bite-sized pieces to make things easy to understand and easy to implement in your business as well. So our webinar goals for this evening, we want to help you gain a better understanding of what brand media is. We want to show you how to leverage brand media in your business to generate more leads and sales, which we all love. We want to show you how to use brand media to resonate with your ideal clients, and we'll touch more on that in a mo. And to show you how to create brand media cohesion across the various marketing platforms for web, print, and social media. Before we touch on brand media, though, I just want to touch on what exactly a brand is. So, a brand is between our product or service and our customers, and the brand is what glues us together. So, your brand is built to represent who you are as a business and how you wish to be perceived by your ideal clients. A brand isn't just one individual thing. It's like humans, right? We're not just a pair of eyeballs that are running around. We're a combination of everything. So, a brand is a feeling that you evoke in your ideal client, in your customers, and it also distinguishes you from your competitors and helps you clarify what it is that makes your company different. And more importantly, it establishes value and credibility in your product or service. Z, is there anything you want to add around branding there?
I guess if anything, it will be more having to showcase and connect the brand and the people.
Yes.
Because that also matches with your clientele as well. Because if you don't have that synergy that people can see, it's hard to connect to the right clients that will, I guess, employ you or give you work or work together.
Great point. And that's why brand media, brand photos and videos is so important because it establishes that emotional connection between the person on the other side of the screen and your actual brand on your website. Great. So at Design Studio Perth, we have our 3 branding pillars. So as I mentioned, Z is here today to speak about brand media. Just wanted to touch on the other 2. So we've got brand messaging, which is the words that are associated with your brand. It's how you sound, it's your USPs, your key messages. Pillar 2 is our visual identity. So like we recognize each other by our facial features, your visual identity is your logo and your brand style guides. These are the colors, the fonts that are associated with your brand. And then we have pillar 3, which is your brand media. So that's your photos and your videos as well. And what we really want in order for a brand to give us the best return on investment is that we want these 3 pillars to align with our ideal clients. If you're not familiar with what an ideal client is, it's the ideal person that you enjoy working with, but it's someone whose your services are really tailored to, and you want to attract more of those kind of people into your business as well. So what, as I mentioned before, is that we need all these 3 pillars to align with that ideal client to effectively execute on the marketing tasks down the bottom. So if we just straight to a website. We pull whatever colors we want for the day. We go and copy and paste from a competitor. We use a whole bunch of stock photos. Well, that website's not going to really give us the return that we're hoping for. Another great example is our online ads. If you're going to go spend, $10,000 on an online ad campaign, but you haven't really got clear on who it is that you're serving, the likelihood of that online ad campaign giving you the return that you're hoping for is going to be very, very slim. So always like to highlight that we really want to establish these 3 pillars and then pull them through into our marketing strategy moving forward.
Yeah.
Great. So as I mentioned, we've got Z here. We're going to touch on brand media today. So what exactly is brand media? So Z, I might let you touch on this if that's all right.
Well, put it simply, brand media is basically how we use the photo, video, anything visual to communicate what your brand identities, values, and basically what your character is, and people can connect with. So having professional photography, images, anything you display from website to different platforms, or even usage on print media, even testimonials as you have it on there, helps a lot, because it connects people, and people will say, oh yeah, these are people that I want to work with, and that brand media is very crucial to building that base.
Yes. Another thing I love about brand media is actually gets the person out from behind the logo. I think so many business owners, hide behind their logo because let's face it, you have to be brave to get out from behind it. But it really gets that human, all the humans that are associated with the brand, gets them out onto the into the open for everyone to see.
Yeah, I remember even when I first started doing this, it's the same thing, and you sort of realize in some form that you need to get out of the shell and at least communicate with the right people. But then you're looking at also the mass, how you communicate with one person, and how they can understand you in some way.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well. Z, I'll let you take over and drive.
Yeah. You got to hang on. You gotta add me on the slides. Hang on.
There we go.
So yeah, as you explained earlier with the brand media, it is important how we know how to elevate the brand, and having customized photography, video work, or anything, logo, colors, it all goes hand in hand in terms of how you present yourself. And then knowing how and why is it important that to have brand photos. Obviously, first point is having to make a first impression. When you display a photo on a website, yes, are you gonna retain customers viewing your website compared to someone who just have words on the website?
Oh, I see a few of those.
You might not get anyone visiting as often as they can because they don't have anything that interests them. So these 3 photos that we have are all different services, but they all show them smiling, or show them working, showing them professionally, and showing them engaging with customers. So it's super important. And then it influences what your customer see and feel from there, and then they will continue inquire about it. And then here's a very good example that we've done for a rooftop bar, Foley, that we've done a whole collection of brand image library, which is pretty much a stock photo of all different aspects of the premises, the restaurant, the services, the products, the staff, and people, how they engage with people. And all this can be collated in some way that they can use on print media, social media, website, and videos itself can be done as a promotional video. They can use it on Instagram, they can use it on TikTok. So it all goes hand in hand, and then it'll tie it down to the look and feel of it, and then the branding itself. So
see,
it's
I just
very,
want
very
to highlight that you actually you create a stock library for the business, right? Because we have stock photos like Shutterstock and Free Pick and all of those, which everyone has access to. But you actually create a bespoke custom stock library for the business.
Yes. It's very very beneficial for a business who do not have any, and it's also very beneficial for people who just think that it's easy to buy images, but then again, you're
Yeah.
buying the same image everyone else is having on the same website.
Yes. Yes.
And
Everyone has access.
people, customers are very smart nowadays, so they know when they see a website that's a stock
Yeah.
image. So when you have branded photos and it's also your face on it, it makes them feel like, oh yeah, this is the real person that we're dealing with, and then how they can connect with
Yes.
them is through your other form of um, media, like for example interviews or interactions or reels. All this form a basis for them to say, yeah, I feel comfortable contacting them.
Yeah, that familiarity that it sort of places in that person's mind as well.
Mm. It is a very vital role in some ways, but even though people might feel a bit hesitant in some way,
Yes.
and I always get a lot of customer who get in touch with us regarding paid advertising, but then they're going it the wrong way around because they might not have the
Yeah.
content and the
Yes.
consistency in place. So
Yeah.
you might get leads, but then they see your website, they go, oh, well, how come website is all just text?
Yeah.
So you might have to match everything together to have that strong brand
Cohesion.
awareness and everything else to fulfill the client.
Yeah, Z, something else that you touched on was having a very text-heavy website. I think people actually underestimate how you can actually scrap a whole, if not two-thirds of the text by using really strong photos that kind of speak for themselves without having to have pages and pages of text. Because I find, I mean, my eyes glaze over if there's too much text on a
Yeah.
website.
Well, there's also, I guess, the other factor when people have a lot of text on their website. There's also a lot of component that goes into saying they consider SEO. So
True.
that's another
Yeah.
conversation where SEOs comes in nowadays can be done on photo and video,
Yeah. Oh,
and the
great. Well, that's
benefit
good
of
to know.
yeah, and the benefit with those is also the individual photos can be tagged in such a way that it's searchable. So
Oh,
you can
good.
tag a photo that might be, oysters,
Yeah.
but the oysters might be oysters, and then you can tag locations or all this other information in
Right.
there. And same thing with video. If you have videos, you can search it; it will come up as well.
So you can actually bake the SEO into the tagging. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
when you load it on the website, you can have all these components embedded onto the photo, and
Great.
with Google how they search it, you see your SEO will pick up photos and video and text.
Oh, okay, cool. That's
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
especially even on YouTube, you can search based on videos, and it will show up all
Yes.
the different keywords of whatever video that you might have.
Yeah, that's good
And
to know.
yeah, it's a good point. Even with one of our viewers saying that people buy with their eyes, and it creates if it's appealing, it creates a desire. Yes, that's very true.
Yes. People, yeah. That's yeah, that human connection.
Especially, I sure a lot of restaurants, people buy with their eyes a lot because
Yeah, oh gosh,
if
I
the
buy with
food
my eyes
looks
all the time.
delicious and the venue it's appealing for them and have the ambience, people will go there.
Yes, it's
And we do
captivating.
really well in this space as well because um, more and more nowadays everyone's recovering from COVID, so they need to have that marketing support their business in some way, rather than just having a big venue but you don't have
Yeah.
any supporting marketing materials for it.
Even if you have a product business, like I'm just thinking because I'm a shoe addict, like everything has to be photographed in such a way that it captures that. Because if shopping at 11 p.m. on a Friday night, just saying, you
Mm,
can't try the shoe on or actually hold it or see it. So your photos actually will be what sort of sells that product at the end of the day.
yeah, and in Singapore they have they embedded some technology where the photo itself can be uh, overlaid onto your person.
I think I've seen that with
So
some of
you
the
can try out clothes, you
The
can try out
Sunnies.
shoes.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, Steve
So
Madden
there's
doesn't
different
have
ways
that
of
yet.
approaching it, but there's a lot of strategies in doing that by having the right content, and you can program it in such a way that you can target specific clientele on how they engage uh, with buying online only, or buying
Mm.
or seeing online and buying physical at the shop. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
So storytelling, as we just mentioned earlier, also conveys a lot of about the business or what they do, how they connect with customers, how they look in front of customers. So this is also one of the clients that we've photographed for. It's a
Great.
orthodontic client of ours that basically had a whole collection of images that we've done from staff photos, stock photos, or even home holding dental, and then they use it on their website.
Yeah.
So yeah, it helps them connect with the people and the businesses and knowing what they are before actually contacting them.
And I think these are really powerful because a lot of people are actually scared of the dentist, especially little kids, like if it's their first time going, whereas these are
Mm.
really warm. You can see the emotion and that
Yeah,
connection that they have as well.
it's good that you mentioned that they show that they're warm, because those are the things that when we sit down with them, we go through the whole scope of what they are
Yeah.
wanting to achieve. And a lot of time they can get a lot of standard headshots, but then how do they want to show it? Do they want to show
Yes.
it really stern, or do they want a little bit more emotion on friendliness and those kind of things?
Yeah.
And in this
And then
case,
interaction.
we have a mixture of them with customers, and also with their new actual operating room, or
Oh,
different
great.
spaces. So if you look at
Mm.
the website, which we can post it later, it
Yes.
has a whole heap of different visuals that we've used on there as well.
Great.
Mm. And I do a lot of events as well. So I find with branding, when we talk about color, text, and the consistency, this is one of the one that has a very good example.
Yeah.
And this Reisiger is a company that does fertilizers, and they basically have a online channel and a global website, and they're very active on the social media. So with the visual that we've done for photo and video on an activation like this, we've done a whole heap of also images that looks like stock photo that they can also use
Great.
as well. So it's
Yeah.
not just having to book a session just to do a stock photo, but we
Yeah.
can actually photograph on an event to make it look usable for multi-purpose.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the other point with having branding is consistency. So
Yes, the big
from
one.
TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, website, newsletter, all these visuals that you're using has to have cohesiveness with the color scheme, the text that you use, the images, all has to talk to each other.
Yeah.
So I feel that that's a very common thing that people overlook,
Yes.
and
I've
they just
noticed that
find
as
it
well.
it's easier just to pick up the phone and just start filming, but then they do not know that there's also the consistency factor. There are
Yes.
formats that you can use for reels, but then there's also consistency in how you can do official photo and video for it to make it look nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big one is the team photos. I'll often come across websites that have got like, 5 different
Mm.
shades because one got taken with an iPhone 11 5 years ago, or 5 years ago. One got taken professionally, and then there's just this haphazardness that happens across the team photos, and they just look so disjointed.
Yeah, I think the thing with that is also when you have a plan on making your brand look a bit bigger than what it is, that goes a long way.
Yes.
Having
And
photos taken on an iPhone can only go so far. But I mean, not saying
true.
that you can't do it. You can do it with the right know-how.
Yeah.
I've know also a lot of photographers that are doing professional content on photo and video on iPhones and other type of phones. But it's just knowing how to do it rather than just because there are different distortion and colors and all those kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so a client like this, for example, Kinetic IT, exuberates that example as well, because we did a lot of staff photos for this as well, and we do Perth, Melbourne, Sydney, Queensland, Adelaide. All the headshot has to match.
Oh, great. Yeah,
So
of
we got guys
course.
in different states for those, and we have a intensive I think quality assurance is a way to say it,
Yeah.
to make sure that they all match together.
Yeah,
And
brand,
we use
definitely.
it on, you can see on the right hand side is their website, and then
Yeah.
the left hand side is on their LinkedIn page. So the color scheme and the circle, the theming of it, the text, it all works.
Yes.
And I think even with LinkedIn, if you mentioned earlier with having group photos, having consistent headshots works very
Yes,
well,
please.
especially on LinkedIn. You know, sometimes people just cut out some photo and just put it on LinkedIn.
Or they have
And
themselves in their sunnies. I'm like, you were at a wedding like 10 years ago and you've got that as your LinkedIn photo.
yeah, yeah, that also, whether or not they are targeting the right client, or whether that's the type of client they want to give
No
people on the first
idea.
impression in the first place. So,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
also find it fun to have new photos up on a regular basis. Then that way it
Yes,
gives people an update, and it creates conversation. It creates also other experiences that people go, oh yeah, this guy's is active, and not just having a photo that stays in there for 15 years, and they just,
definitely. Yeah, and also the posting as well. You've touched on something really important there, like in terms of a blog post or posting on your social media.
yeah,
When we meet someone at a networking event or someone refers us, and if there's nothing on our social media, if we don't have any social media presence because we think it's a load of nonsense, we don't have a website because we think that's a waste of time, we kind of go
yeah,
down that credibility ladder because people just get tumbleweed. So it's so important what you've just said is that you to have that regular image library or your own image library where you can post, you can have an updated photo, not your photo from a wedding 15 years ago. And especially on LinkedIn, like that's prime real estate, that banner image, it's really, you can advertise your business there, some key points that about your
mm,
business because our generation has a very short attention span and wants everything done quick, quick. So that's prime real estate. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Thanks, Dee.
yeah. And it's also one of those things that, I mean, once you know how to do it, it's easier than what you think it is.
Yeah.
It's just having a form of, I guess, guidance on how to get it done properly. And it's not
Yes.
hard to ask. At the end of the day, we're here to help.
Yes, definitely. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat as well.
And then, as we touch on, building the trust and credibility. If you're selling a brand, yes, when people recognize it and say, do we trust this company? And then do
Mm.
those other supporting media gives you the indication that this is someone that you want to deal with. And that goes also back to people using Google reviews. If they Google review has a video component or has a photo of them saying something good about you, it's also good, and
Yes,
that elevates
definitely.
it another level.
It does. Yeah, and everyone loves video nowadays, so that's a really good point.
Mm.
Something else I wanted to say about this photo, Mirrorplex, Andy, which is, it's really good to see that the truck is branded because a lot of mining companies, especially, will just go straight to Shutterstock. Everyone's got the same 10 trucks on there. But I really like how this one is specific to Mirrorplex. It's branded, which really makes it stand out as well.
The logo is very important because when we do stock photos, I always look for that.
Yeah.
And having the consistency from that to uniforms, I always go with that kind of look. If someone turns up for a corporate shot and they just wear a normal shirt, I just say no. We either have a logo, a polo shirt, or a custom issue one. We just
Yes.
recently did a 40 people headshot for Australian Gas Network.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
and that was one of those things where all their staff have been briefed to, because they have their own company issued
Uniform.
T-shirt and
Yeah.
then uniform. So they're all
Great.
branded themselves.
Yeah.
The only benefit
Consistency.
with that is when we go on site, we save them time as well. So it's not just having random photos taken; it's
Yeah.
also strategized so that way the staff can get back to work and be more efficient.
As
So
well.
40
Yeah.
people took us about an hour and a half, and
That's a
they're
big
all
shift.
professional image.
Great. Really, really good.
Rudy, one of your viewers, is asking, have advancement in technology changed your approach to photography over the years? Yes, it has, very much. I think there's also the instant gratification part as well.
Yeah.
Having to share images live. we recently last week we just shot a meat and livestock conference that they did in Claremont, and within the same day we just have highlight images ready for them to roll out on their Instagram. So yeah, it's very handy. I love technology because that makes it a lot more easier for me to impress clients, and in turn they also connect with more clients. Should I answer the next one?
Is there another one? Let's see. Oh, yeah, we can do, or we can do the, it's up to you. Z, go for it. We've got Chad.
Chad is underestimating the value of investment of, yeah, it really is very common. Very common. People underestimate the value of it, and once you have it done, you'll find quicker than ever that people notice what you've done, and they will
I can
ask you
attest
about
to
what.
that. Yep. Definitely. And because I have brand photos every year. Actually, I think I'm due again soon, Z, to have some more done with you. But it just elevates, whilst it's a bit of a cost investment, and it's not that much in the larger scheme of things, it just elevates your entire brand to that whole nother level.
Yeah. And it also gives you a lot more, I guess selection is one question that I would usually get asked. What sort of, how many images do they get? It comes down to how broad you want to approach your marketing strategy on you using them throughout your print media, website, all those other things. And I don't know if you have seen a lot of my images do have a lot of negative spacing. It's
They do. They're
purely
great.
because I structure it so that we can use it on website and email signature and all those other things.
Yeah, and socials. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really great. And Z, actually, you do a very extensive library, especially for the social media package, because if you are posting every day, there's let's say 365, you're posting maybe 320 of the days of the year, like you need a big image library to kind of pull from the entire time and not to go to stock photos.
And it's not hard to get a lot of photos. It just comes down to, if they value it based on a yearly basis, it's actually not that much more than them having to have someone just to shoot it, on the cheap. And then if they're not getting the right content, if you multiply that by over the year and having just one good session done with a big collection saves them so much more, and they don't have to worry about it, and then they don't have to keep doing it as much.
That's a really good point. If you think what a Shutterstock subscription costs, it's totally worth getting a bespoke.
Like anywhere from $50 to $200 per photo. That's dependent on whether if it suits your use case.
Yes. Good point.
And okay, so next part is, why do we need a customized photo? So this is a very good example. Also a client of Tracy, where we've done 2 sessions so far, and a variety of images that covers a broad spectrum, but also narrows down to the specific type of clients that they are after. There's also situations where you might get a client that only wants certain type of look. Then we'll go with that brief to go and shoot for that. With this, in a sense, we kind of discuss roughly where to shoot it. I think when our first session with Paul kind of gave me a little bit more creative freedom of what to shoot it for and how to go with.
Yes.
And the first image on the left there is basically shot on Brookfield Place, and that shows a little bit more light reflections as well. So it gives it a little bit more corporate look. And then there's also other components where I want to have him connecting with people a little bit more friendlier space, and that kind of work with a lot of the other images that we've done, and also customizes his look to how stern he looks, but also being approachable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And something Paul mentions is that you make people feel very at ease when you take the photos. I think that's one of the things, people get so nervous at the idea of having to stand behind, in front of the camera the whole time. But Paul said you were great. You really made him feel at ease and he was relaxed. So
yeah, Oh, I'm glad. I
Yeah.
did a photo shoot even for the CEO of Impacts 3 months ago,
Yeah.
and he just said, oh, he wanted this specific look, that he wanted to look like Barack Obama, that pose. And I did a
Yeah.
photo, and it just makes him look more comfortable. Once he had it, he was like, he changes his perspective on how he
Yep.
wanted certain photos to look, and it just breaks the ice a little bit.
It does, definitely. No, it's great.
So yeah, as you can see, from having custom branding, you can stand out a lot more. You can have a very cost-effective control over your image. And I guess once people are on the fence, once they start seeing how, I think for us, I put a lot of case study on our website.
Yeah.
Once people start seeing the variety of images that we can create, this is actually done on a 1 hour session. So that most people will know that it's not an intensive session,
No,
but
it's
we
actually
get a
great.
lot of variety of images from there. So yeah,
Yeah.
1-2 hours is fantastic. We don't need
Yes.
to sit around for 3-4 hours. It's too
No.
long for that.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's exhausting. Another great thing that you do, Z, is that you allow for like a couple of outfit changes. So say you want to have some corporate shots, but then you want to have more sort of casual ones, or I don't know, in your cycling gear, whatever the case may be. Z does allow you to change as well. So then you can have a variety of photos, which makes them just a bit more versatile as well.
Yeah. And you can have it for multiple users and not just have one outfit that looks the same across all the other media.
Yeah. Done that before.
And we've got a studio, like
Oh,
for example, your photos that we've done, we have a studio in house that we can actually shoot studio
yes.
look, and then we can do on site as well, which gives it a little bit more variety.
Yeah, which is also great.
Mm. And the next phase is video, of course, because having photos is one thing, and videos is, I feel, the stronger component in
Yes.
some case, because when you put video on a website, you gain retention.
Yeah.
So I think on the next slide, I have an example of a recent project that we just done. So this particular client
Hi,
of
I'm
ours is a
Paula.
shop
I'm
fitter,
the owner of
and
Spring
we
Reform.
did a
I'm also the Pilates
testimonial style
instructor
video.
and physiotherapist here. We came across Hannah and Callan from our projects Perth through our signage company, SignBiz. They've worked with Hannah and Callan before and recommended them to us. Working with Hannah and Callan from our projects Perth has been a really simple, straightforward experience. They've been very helpful from the start. This being our first experience in fitting out a shop front, they've been stepping us through each process, handled the paperwork, have been available to call at any time, answered our questions. Everything was on time and within budget, and the experience itself was one of the easiest parts of this process of starting up our small business. I would
So you
highly
see a lot
recommend
of those
Hannah
visuals that you see on the video. I've done that
for any
very
doubt
similar
or
to having photos as
query.
well.
They've been
Yeah.
So on their stock
very
library, they
professional
also have the
and
similar type of video that
helpful
I've shot
at the
as
same
photo,
time.
Great.
especially when they're showing the tablet and then talking about the floor plans and stuff like that. Those get
Yes.
taken as a photo as well.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
when they use this, Hannah has actually used this as a promotional video for themselves, and they will also showcase it on their website to show that they've actually done renovation works or shop fitting work. Then that is a lot more proof than having just a sentence to say Hannah did
Yeah, that
job,
credibility,
you know. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, so it ups the credibility and it gets it actually, like you said earlier, that person stays on your website a lot longer, so it retains them visiting your website, which is what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, this video is what, 2.5 minutes or somewhere
Yeah,
around that. So
yeah,
that gives you that time that is longer on the website. If you're using a website and post it as a blog component, people will go
yes,
back and watch what's up next, and then they'll come back for more if they want to. If they are on the fence and they
yes,
want to see how many have you done, and that's one of the components that I do recommend highly more than
Yeah, that's great.
just
Beautiful
a
studio. Sure.
few images. Yeah, so it goes
Yeah.
hand in hand.
Yes.
So this other video here is more structured. This is actually for Pentanet that we've done a
Oh, cool.
promotional video. It's a considered a sponsored video where
combining the latest
AMD
Ryzen
they
processors
will
and AMD
review a
Radeon
video
graphics
and then
together.
it gets
It's Bravo
showcased
15
to sell,
optimized for gaming experience with lightning
the
fast
features and
display.
everything.
Comes with a 15.6 inch 144 hertz.
So
Is
that
that
gets
to sell
featured.
back the laptop,
refresh rate
see?
gaming display to experience.
That's is a gaming laptop for this guy is actually
Oh, right.
one of the esports team. They do
Oh.
online gaming
dedicated
professionally.
thermal solutions,
See, yes.
for both CPU and GPU.
So they get sent
60
different types of
gigabytes.
laptop to
This
review
bad boy,
and showcase
enlarges the
to
internal
potential.
diameter of the
That's that
thermal
Yeah,
target
the lighting looks
demographic.
cool.
So MSI is one of their main
Right.
sponsors.
Performance under extreme
So
gaming.
yeah,
This also has Cooler Boost, which you can immerse yourself in music.
Yeah, the
and
lighting's
enjoy
so
premium
effective.
sound quality, with
Yeah.
high-resolution audio coming
so
through.
we shot this all on
Thanks
site
for
as
coming by,
well.
guys,
Took us about
and
an hour
if you
and a
wanna
half,
get your
2
hands on this
hours.
sleek new Bravo
Wow.
15, you can check out the links in the description,
We
and there'll also
script
be some videos in there
most
to
of
check out
it,
for yourself.
and a lot of
Thanks.
situations they give us very short lead times, but we work with what we got.
Yeah, cool.
So that increases their visibility by a lot more, and they can feature on landing page and stuff like that for MSI and stuff to promote the product.
Yes, and the product looks beautiful in that video.
Welcome, guys.
So the next one is an example that I mentioned earlier about having to use it on the website. So
Yes.
Whitford's Catholic Primary is one of our clients that we shot 2 days, both photo and video. We basically did this component on their website as a hero video that they can actually showcase on the website as a banner.
Yeah,
So
great.
as you load the website, it shows on there with no music. It just shows as
Yeah.
a rolling video. And then they can browse other components of it with different stock photos that we've shot as well.
Very cool.
So it's a lot of work, but it's also one of those things that I feel very good in the long run, that they can use this for 4 or 5 years before they change anything.
Yeah. And the video just adds like a whole nother dimension. I mean, photos are great, but the video just adds a whole nother level of interaction.
It does build the credibility a lot more, because when you get people telling good things about you,
Yeah.
it sort of already pre-sells them. So
Yes.
it's almost like when you refer someone, people trust the referral more than reading about it. The reviews
Yes.
can work so far, but then when you have someone talking about it, this is why YouTube works by people having influencers talk about different products, because they will go in there and search for those products and say what are the reviews and how do this mention about it.
Yeah.
And that helps them promote the brand by itself and engages you from there.
Yeah. Very powerful.
I think the last component, I would say, it's video like this that humanizes your brand. We did an interview session with this client of ours. They are called Perth Badminton Arena. They basically have a couple of badminton halls that they hire to people to go and play badminton. So we did like a anniversary video that basically showcases their journey from start to the end, and all along in between is basically the people that is involved in their success until then. So yeah, we will play this video and have a look.
I still remember the day me and Mike worked together as civil engineers, as colleagues, and he just walked to me one day and said he had enough. And he asked me, do we want to start something new, an adventure that allow people to play badminton?
We started from zero. We have to fork out all our savings.
They know what to do, and yeah, my journey continued from there.
It is not an easy decision. On that day, I still remember I wished him well.
I said, yeah, why not? And that's how we started, Badminton Arena.
Be able to see Like so many people come in and just enjoy badminton, like no matter their levels.
It's such a warm and friendly environment.
And also I want to make use of the chance to meet more people and make more friends.
My most memorable moment, and we've been playing there for several years now. So we just go and enjoy playing.
It's satisfying when you see players, they enjoy their games.
When I saw our young players achieving good progress, winning tournaments, making breakthroughs.
The toughest part is this commitment and persistence, like, you had COVID.
Probably during COVID, because it was very hard to juggle the amount of people we were allowed.
They have a lot of badminton services such as pro shop, restringing, so court hire, training for the kids and adults.
For players from regardless of any countries, any backgrounds, they get to use our platform to actually know each other.
I expect to see more and more people coming over the years.
When the love of badminton grows, so will PBA.
Try to produce more young talent that will be able to fulfill their potential even at the national stage.
PBA 3. Hopefully we'll see many more PBA 3, PBA 4 in the future.
You got a long way to go. When I say long way, is I really wish you to go long and far in your journey. And I wish nothing but the best.
I would like PBA to not just be in Perth, but it can be an Australia badminton arena in one day.
Yeah, I think a lot of opportunities can be found.
We hope that we can build a bigger platform for all the communities in Perth, hopefully in the whole Australia.
So yeah,
that's great.
It's good to have that kind of storytelling and connecting the human side of it, because a lot of their customers are community based. So when you have this sort of video that also involves them, it gives them a little bit more show and tell, and then they were also proud of the brand that they're showcasing.
Yes,
and it
definitely.
creates a lot more conversation in that sense, that you're promoting the brand by having other people talk about you as well.
Yeah, and also as a viewer, you can like place yourself into that video as well. Yeah, sorry, it's raining now. I hope you can hear me. The rain's so loud.
I think that's the whole segment of mine in terms of video, and this is actually a unique way of showcasing video.
Yes, I like this one.
So this particular one is actually a video that we shot for Hospitality Disability Network. They basically place disabled people in workplace environments, and we did an educational style video for them to use to promote.
Okay,
and
Mark,
like
let's
a
do
POV.
this. So I'm going to teach you how to pour a tap beer. But before we get started, is this something you've done before?
So we did some graphics to show the questions and everything.
Does pouring my dad a beer from a can count?
Well, it's a pretty good start, but there's a little bit more to it than that. So let's just go through it step by step to start with, and then we can go through it multiple times until you're feeling good. How's that?
It might take me some time to pick it up, but I'm happy to give it a go.
I might pause this just so that you know there's a lot of components here that we work hand in hand with the marketing team.
Yeah.
And they've done a lot of the back end work also to find the right model that looks the part to be able to sort of showcase the training module, and also having the concept that we can actually perform by doing a POV style video to basically showcase this training component of it. So the target market obviously is disabled people. So
Yes.
people who are watching it think like that's how they will go through and not being excluded in terms of when they're at work, and how they can be manageable in when they're getting trainings and everything else.
Yeah, and I love that you've actually touched on that. See that all that pre-planning that goes into a video or a photo shoot. I mean, for business owners, having your makeup done or what are you going to wear on the day, or
Very
and I know you're great. You advise on all of that. What was that? Sorry.
I think it's very, very crucial. Yeah.
Yes. Definitely. And for ladies guys getting a makeup artist for the day and having your hair done and making sure, of course, that you present in a way that aligns with that ideal client.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the more we know about your business and details and nitty-gritty, the better we can represent and showcase you visually. That goes in hand with design as well, because for you to design a logo or color, what do they feel when they want that resembles their business?
Yes, and how it aligns, definitely. Was that the last example, Dee?
That's my last example, yes. We can go
Yeah,
back to your
great.
slide.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing those with us. I'll just quickly whip through mine. So pretty much just touching on what Dee's already highlighted. So why one should invest in brand photos is number one, to be authentic. There's no one like you on this planet. So it's a great way to really showcase yourself as a business owner, showcase your team members, and more importantly, showcase your business. To use brand photos to tell visual stories like the orthodontist photos that's the showcase. It's a great way to tie that emotional connection into your website and your brand collateral as well. To look professional, a big one, and to show brand consistency. So like your visual identity, your logo, your colors, your fonts, making sure that your brand media is cohesive across the board. I actually wanted to ask you, someone recommended, if you say you have a bespoke photo shoot, but then you want to just do the odd one and there on your phone, one could use a filter. Would you recommend that?
Depending on the use case.
Yeah.
If they're using, I will most of the time I'll say no, because a lot of time when you want to look professional, people are still looking at that component, that there's still a little bit of fuzziness on the photo. Maybe in a couple of years, maybe the phone quality might be better in cases. But I having worked in this market, I actually review a lot of technological stuff as well, with photography cameras and videos, and also know that Sony has done a lot even with phones that then pretty much rival most bigger cameras. So it's just comes down to, yes, depending on the use case and also how you're gonna photograph it. You can still photograph a lot on phone, but if you're in a pinch and you want to use it just for putting professional quality images up, but knowing how to do it, that still works. I'm not saying that you can't use phone. You can do it if you know how to make it look good. And online nowadays, everything doesn't need to be high res. It just needs to look
professional. Yes. Yeah. So what I do so we've got our photos that you do for us, and then say there's maybe a personal post I want to do on LinkedIn, then I'll attempt to take a photo. But what I love is having that bespoke library for Design Studio Perth. We can just pull images from there majority of the time, and there's still that level of professionalism, and the lighting is so important that is displayed through those photographs.
I think the other point that I should highlight as well, yes, you can do photos on your phone, but then again, are you wanting to go out the trouble to actually sit down and edit the photos and put it up online?
Yes, it's very time consuming.
Is that your core business? So we want to alleviate that for a lot of customers by saying we can be your partner in the media space, where we can create those particular high quality photography and video components. It frees up their time. They don't have to worry about it. They just need to know that it's done, and then they just need to have a collection that they can actually pull down and use from there.
Yeah, and that's a lot like with our social media management that we offer, that, it's the copywriting, the graphics, the photographs that you take. It all gets done for the business owner so they can, enjoy doing what they love and not have to worry about their socials or their photos or how they're showing up. But they've still got that very important online presence happening in the background while they focus on their business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very important.
Stock photos. I know we briefly did touch on this. Again, I'm a big advocate for having a bespoke photo shoot. Stock photos, we have to, as Z mentioned earlier, that, a number of people do have access to them, like Canva. And the likelihood of those images being on, Bob the Builder's site and your building site are very, very high. So highly recommend getting a bespoke photo shoot to make sure that that doesn't happen and you do stand out in the marketplace. So great, just touching on the importance of brand photos. So first impressions matter. I think a lot of people underestimate this. If it's the first time I'm engaging with someone on their LinkedIn and they've got that sexy, wedding photo from 15 years ago, but they're an accountant, it makes absolutely no sense. So, really think about how your photography comes across to the other person on the side of the screen. Custom photos are tailored for your brand, and you have control over your brand image as well. Again, with stock photos, you kind of get this haphazard thing that starts to happen. So I thought I would share my own personal brand photo journey. Clearly for 2020, 21, and 22, I didn't quite know Z. So started off in 2020. But I wanted to really share this because not only does it document your own journey as a business owner, but things change. And as you mentioned, it's really important to have fresh photos taken at least once a year. I'm now due for some new ones. But just as your business grows and goes, it's important to make sure that your brand is growing with your business. So going back to those 3 pillars that we mentioned, your core messages, your visual identity, and your brand media, does it still align with that ideal client? So if we look at 2020, I was in jeans. Oh my word.
And it's also like comes down to who you want to target as well, isn't it? Like
yes,
if you're
great
reaching
point.
out to mom and dad who runs a business, then 2020 might be a bit more approachable.
Well, 2020, that's what I was doing. I was Tracy Moore, the graphic designer. So, one-man band, didn't have an amazing team just yet. And then 2021, that kind of moved over to more of I want to say a boss babe kind of vibe. 2022 was slowly moving more into working with more corporate clients, professional services. And 2023, we've moved fully into, working with the industrial space, professional services space, and so on. So I just thought it's as far as visual storytelling goes, it just kind of shows how your brand image kind of changes over the years as well.
Yes.
Perfect. Brand videos we pretty much touched on as well, but just some key points. Engagement magnets. So people love video. They love watching things. They're able to watch it over and over again, and that really strengthens your brand messaging across the board. It increases conversion and sales. It humanizes your brand. As we said in the beginning, it's really important to get out from behind your logo, as scary as what it may be, but it really does humanize your brand. As you touched on, SEO and social media reach and creates impactful narratives as well. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Z. I think we've answered all the questions as we've gone. If there are no more questions, thank you so much for your time, Z. I'm a big fan of your work, and thank you so much for jumping online with me. And I look forward to our next photo shoot, which I think is next week for one of our clients.
Yes. Looking forward to it. So,
yes.
thank you
definitely.
for inviting me. And obviously it's very, very good platform to be on. And I do encourage more people to watch and learn a lot more from your platform.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, if you need me to come back more, I'll more than happy to do other contents on that as well.
Yes, of course. Well, we have to get you on the podcast now. Now you have to jump on there too.
No worries.
Crazy. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mav. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Can you all hear me?